Coming up on this week's episode of Unpick.
First of all, this only ever happens to guys. It will never happen to a woman. Without trying to pursue some type of legal, criminal justice in doing it, and you just go straight to the newspaper and you paint this picture of this individual, which then costs them careers, deals, blah, 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 blah. That does then just fall under defamation.
I can recognize for men, particularly black men, why Noel Clarke's story might be triggering.
Wagwan peeps, it's Venom, what you saying? Alongside my home slice, damn me to the zane. When she and I get together on the poddy, ask anybody, the vibes are insane.
Join our family and feel free to come by. Be on Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah.
New drop on the way every Monday at 6.
Tune in and come see what we unpick.
So you've been wanting to talk about this Noel Clarke thing.
Yeah, for a second.
Okay, for a while now.
Yeah.
So we're here now, so what's up?
So Noel Clarke has appeared back on the scene. As we all know, he did an interview with Zizi Mills and about 2 other podcasts as well. I haven't seen the other ones, but Zizi Mills, one of the more popular ones, where he was just detailing his experience and talking about how he's been like blacklisted for the allegations that had come out maybe about 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah. 2019, right?
So, yeah, 2019 or 2020. Was it not in the lockdown?
I can't
Right.
I
It
think,
was around that time.
I think they said 2019.
Or that's when it was alleged to happen, but then it came out in 2020. And then he had shows cancelled, deals dropped,
Yeah.
films that were in like pre-production ended, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, here we are, and he has this interview with Zizi Mills, and he's like, I'm upset about it because some things were true, but misrepresentations of the truth.
Yeah.
Some things were not true, but ultimately nothing had gone through any type of legal proceedings to whereby he's guilty of something. So essentially, a rumor has come out or information has been brought to the public about someone, and then it's cost them their livelihood as they knew it, but no legal proceedings have happened. So then what really is it? I'm more concerned with the theme rather than no. But
What do you mean?
as in the theme of, I mean, because first of all, this only ever happens to guys. It will never happen to a woman, or to my knowledge, this has never happened to women. As in, like someone accusing a woman of something, and then everything she's working on kind of falls apart, even though it's allegations, not facts. If you see what I mean. I just find
Is that the thing? Is that the...
that to me? That's the theme.
Oh.
Not the comparison between men and women. Just the fact of. Okay, cool.
I think, because from what I remember, it was The Guardian, right, that put out a story, and they said that 20 women had come forward and said that and made accusations. Some of it was abusive, some of it was more towards the bullying line of things, from what I remember. And he, in his interviews, he's spoken about how he was told that, oh, we've got something on you, but he didn't know it was like to that extent. And I think even one of the women that came out and spoke was someone that was close to him.
Yeah.
So that just kind of fueled the fire in terms of people believing straight off the bat everything that was said. And yeah, I don't think he was like no police were involved. And just off the back of that, people were dropping like flies or whatever in terms of wanting to work with him. From watching a few of the interviews that I've seen, I think that's a narrative he's trying to paint, and he's doing it very well. I think he's trying to claw back his reputation.
Yeah.
And so the narrative that makes sense to paint is, well, I was never actually convicted. There was never like a police investigation. And actually, is it right that there's this cancel culture without any proof of something happening? And I've really thought about my stance on this since you told me that you wanted us to talk about it. And it's a tough one, because the way I see it is, I think that we need to have cancel culture. I think it has its purpose.
For sure.
I think it's abused. I think sometimes we don't even do it correctly. There's other communities that when they want to cancel you, you will be cancelled. Not you're cancelled for 1-2 year. You drop something hard, everyone's talking about
Back
you
on
again. You're
you.
back on it. Like,
Oi.
you forgot about it. No. When there's certain communities, if they want to cancel you, you're gone. You're done. That's it. You're never coming back. And I think the Black community needs to do better at that. But if we're gonna do that, I think some due diligence needs to be made to ensure that this person should be cancelled. In saying that, though, I don't think the law is the one. Because we can't, as a Black community, on one hand say we don't trust the police and the legal system because we know that there's some racial issues within that, and then at the same time try and lean on that for our way out. And I feel like that's what he's doing. Because I reckon if the police had been involved, the narrative would have been spun in, it's typical, they've come for a Black man. Race would have become an issue.
But
and he spoke about race anyway, because when he was talking about the media outlets, he was talking about race, and I was the one that got Black people into spaces and stuff like that. So he's talking about race already. So I know that if the police had been involved, he would have been talking about race anyway. The narrative would have been spun in a certain way to make it seem like, oh, everyone's against me because I'm a Black man. We can't deny that there's numbers behind this. It's not 1, 2, 3 women. Like, I watched the ZZ Mills one, and I think people, like, she got a lot of stick for that interview.
Yeah, she did.
And I'm one of those people. I don't think I get the argument that when you have a platform like ZZ Mills and you bring people on who the community or social media is deemed as problematic, you are giving them a stage.
Yeah.
It's very similar to ages ago when Chucky did the interview with Morad Morali.
Yeah.
People were really upset about that. And I get it, we're trying to cancel them while we're giving them space on our platforms to share what they want to share. I totally get that argument. But on the flip side, and I think I said this about the Morad Morali thing, I think it's important that when we do let them onto our platforms to have these conversations, that we're asking the right questions, because we need to do it in a way that lets them know that, I'm not letting you on here to try and like I know that's
save yourself.
You're trying to save yourself. I get that's why you came on my platform. You want to use my numbers. But I need to let you know that there's certain questions that your audience are gonna have, and you're gonna answer it. If you're gonna come and sit here, you're gonna answer it. And ZZ Mills does a really good job at doing that. Like, she'll ask the stuff that
she asked the questions.
She'll ask the questions that other people might be like, you know what, that's a touchy subject, let's not go there, or whatever. She knows what people are saying online, and then she'll bring it on and she'll be like, okay. And I got the sense on there that she was questioning things, like trying to make him realize where there was holes in what he was trying to say. And one of the things she said, and I was clapping, literally, she was like, yeah, but if it was 1 or 2 girls, maybe we can say, they've interpreted it. But if they're all coming out and they're all saying similar things, and it's like, we're not talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 20 women.
Yeah.
One of which is even someone who is close to you. It makes it easier to believe whether there's police involved or not.
For sure.
And and that's where I'm sitting on this, because I feel like if it was 1 or 2 women, I would believe the women anyway, because women, we tend to do that. We believe each other. And I would be like, yeah, you should have, at the time, but with the amount of women that we're talking about here, it's very much giving, I'm trying to do damage control, and the only thing that works against that narrative that they've tried to paint is the fact that no police were involved.
Yeah.
That's what I think. In terms of in general,
in the theme of it.
In general,
so,
that's my feelings.
My issue with it is that this is like, it's taken a while to get to this point where I can see it as being a theme. But now we've gotten to here, and he's said he's bit and whatnot. I didn't know no police were involved, or not that no police were involved, that no one reported anything to the police after it came to light. And
or even at the time, when someone comes up me, like,
And to be fair, at the time, I get, because sometimes you might be afraid, you don't know that there's other people going through the same thing, so you might feel like singled out, and if you speak, You know what I mean? I can
Yeah.
get that when in the moment you don't feel like it's safe to do that.
Yeah.
You don't want to put yourself out there. But my issue, and this doesn't make him innocent, this doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, I believe him now or whatever, is when I then look at other scenarios such as Jonathan Majors, or not that he's now been tried, but like R. Kelly, for example. When I look at the multiples of it, and I'm like, okay, cool, R. Kelly, fair. Bill
Cosby.
Clinton as well. All I could see was Clinton.
Oh.
Bill Cosby,
Yeah.
same, fair, tried. You know what I mean? People brought it up. It then became a bit of a thing in the media. They're trying to do damage control, but the world hasn't ended. They tried legally, and I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna complain.
Yeah.
But I just have a problem with the ability to destroy someone's life without following a proper process and just using sensationalism, which is, it kind of is, because I don't know what the channel is, but they've spoken to someone who's able to give them access to The Guardian, who's then written an article and published it. At this point, it's just a conversation from me to you, The Guardian, and now it's gone to the world. But where's the truth? Because
that is their truth.
Their truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that's proven in the court of law is the truth, even if it's a lie. But that's a conversation. Me and you can do that right now. If I'm Kim Kardashian with, let's say, I don't know how many followers she got. Let's just say it's 50 million on Instagram. You dummy Zayn now say, Kim, blah, blah, blah. And then I just say like it's fact. Yeah, boom, blah, blah. Because I'm reputable media personality, Kim Kardashian, and my word is bond, which is basically what The Guardian is. They're saying, I'm a media publication that tells the truth. Then everyone has to believe what I say. So that now that's affecting whatever you've said, that affects them.
But anything that what The Guardian said was actually the truth, because The Guardian only shared these people's stories. And if these people's stories is that this person did that, then they didn't lie.
No, I'm not saying that they lied.
Fair enough. The people that have said what they said, their allegations haven't been investigated. But because the thing is, when you start going down that line, it's almost like you're saying, well, we don't know if they're lying or they're not lying, right? And we're never going to know if they're lying or they're not lying, but it's plausible because there's more than 1, 2, 3, 4 people saying it. It's 20 people that are saying it. That has happened.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think that, and this goes back to what I was saying about, as a community, people are trying to find ways. Even his narrative is, oh, it never went to police, it was never investigated.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it never happened. That doesn't mean that what those people said wasn't true.
It doesn't.
Even if it had been taken to the police, because of the nature of the allegations, right? He could have bust case.
Yeah, but that's a different.
We even know we already this famous DJ.
Oh Lord!
I'm not gonna say the names. We've spoken about him a couple times. One of our videos on YouTube currently
I'm with you.
In the UK. It's currently not. It's not there. Episode 24. You will not find it if you're trying to stream it from the UK. You will not find it on YouTube.
Use the VPN.
Use the VPN. You will not find it. When they investigated it, they've dropped it. That doesn't mean that what the women experienced wasn't real. Do you understand me?
Of course.
So, but
that's a different story. To me, that's a different story.
To me, it's all the same.
Nah.
Do you know why it's all the same?
Why?
Because with that individual, we had a big, like, one of the main broadcasting television channels put out not 1, but 2 documentaries.
Yeah.
Not even a news. Who reads newspaper anymore like that? Documentaries. Okay, it wasn't on actual channel. It went on their streaming platform. But most people nowadays, they stream anyway.
Yeah.
So it's been broadcast. It's there. It's still there. It's still there. Cool. To me, it's the same as they wrote a newspaper article collating more people than this person.
Yeah.
And related these people's story, and then their headline is allegedly abused 20 women.
Yeah.
But that's what they've been told by the people. The different, and in the latter, the one that was on TV, the same police that investigated, did they or did they not drop the case?
Yeah, they dropped the case, but the difference is that story has somewhat more behind it in terms of these individuals believe it's serious to the point where they have taken it to the authorities to be investigated. Whether the authorities serve them well or fail them is different, but that person
hear me out though
has not.
Hear me out. I'm speaking to the argument which you just made, in that essentially, unless I understood what you're saying to be wrong, so you can correct me, but my understanding of what you're saying is not gripe might be a strong word for this scenario, but the issue that you take to the whole thing is the fact that it hasn't been investigated.
Yeah.
So how do we know? And then how can we put all the power on these broadcasting media outlets to tarnish someone's reputation?
Yeah, based on
no investigation. And I'm saying to you, in our community, that investigation probably wouldn't go anywhere anyway. Case in point, another person.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah.
Do you understand me? If anything, if it had gone anywhere, it's because of race. This is why I spoke about race at the start.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
No, but it still matters because it's what affects. So let's say, for example, He Who Shall Not Be Named, episode 24.
Yeah.
We already know that brother is guilty. Yeah.
Okay, hear me out. The people that have had close proximity to Noel,
and that's what I'm saying. We assume he's guilty.
Would assume he's guilty.
Which I'm like, cool.
Exactly the same.
I'm like, cool and cool again.
Right.
But let's say, for example, the scenario where someone is actually not guilty. They're guilty now. That's my issue.
Yeah, but
I'm not thinking about these people.
Yeah, but someone that is not guilty, I doubt there would be 20 women.
To be fair, I don't, because
20 women. I think we live in a world now where everybody wants to find reasons as to why they're not going to believe a man for these things.
No.
Because I'm sorry. He's not even making peas like that. He's not even that. He's not to be rude.
Him?
No.
Yeah.
Not to be rude. He's done his thing.
Yeah.
He deserves his accolades. But this guy is not on flipping Bill Cosby level for 20 women to be doing that. Let me go and lie.
No, I think he was doing a bit more than.
He's doing it.
I'm not discrediting the women. I'm not discrediting the women at all, though.
But do you realize that in discrediting the process, your argument is, what if he was innocent? By doing that, it's almost like you're saying, but there's a chance he could be innocent.
Okay, so the thing
that's how it can.
That's how it might read. That's how it might read.
And that's why I'm like, no, it's not about that. At the end of the day, there's been around 20 women. I don't know if it's just under or more, but around 20 women have come out and said, this is the experience I've had with this man.
Yeah.
They've gone and they've spoken to a media outlet. For whatever reasons, they've decided not to go to the police.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is bullying. You can't go to the police for bullying. They're not going to do anything. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
The few, because it's not all essay. It's not all essay.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is bullying. So the ones that are essay, I don't know how many out of the 20 women that have alleged essay, right? And even there's degrees to essay. I spoke about this before.
Mm-hmm.
You can send someone an unsolicited pic, but then I think that you could probably get prosecuted for something like that. Whereas like, there was one where he was saying that he told the girl at work that she's got a nice bum.
Yeah, which is.
And she told him off there and then about it. That's what he says he did.
Yeah.
She obviously still felt upset about it to the point where she's deeming that as, that's inappropriate behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's borderline essay to me.
Mm-hmm.
To her, not me.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, something like that. You go to police for something like that. You think they're going to do anything about that? No, it's so negligible. It's like microaggressions at work. You go to HR and you're telling them, my manager's I just don't know how to explain it, but I feel like it's racial. They're not going to take that seriously unless it's actually like, this person's touched you, this person's like forced themselves onto you, or they're being it's gotten to the point now where you've got text messages, you've got they're harassing you, that sort of level. Yeah, that can go to the police. yeah, that can get investigated. But when we're talking about like something that's almost microaggression-esque, that's not going to go anywhere. So I can actually see why, if it's stories like that, I can see why that's not gone to the police.
But at the same time, where it's a scenario where there's enough people to compile a picture as to why the Guardian would even write on it, is why I'm like, well, if they were smart enough to be like, look, this is what we have as a collective, that's something you can also present to the police individually.
I think that it depends on the type of abuse that we are talking about here.
Yeah, because they're not all...
That determines whether or not it is illegal. Because you can still be a bully and harass, and it can still be within the limits of what the law says.
What is acceptable? Yeah. Because at the same time, you don't have to be a likable character at work, so long as you're not being, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just like exactly at work, there'll be a code of conduct. You'll have a what's that thing called that all workplaces have? Employee handbook.
Yeah.
There'll be things in there that they'll tell you is a dismissible offense, and they'll make it clear what those things are.
But then it does get.
But then there's gonna be things. There's gonna be things outside of that list that they've mentioned that is still not appropriate behavior, but they can't do anything to you because you did it. Does that mean that thing that you did wasn't inappropriate? No. So this is why, like, I understand that if it was the level of allegation that my man, episode 24, was getting, and no one had gone to the police, I'd get that. Because that's a much more, in the grand scheme of things, that is a much more
like serious,
dangerous, serious, because it's something that is within the confinements of how the law works. That is something that you could actually be prosecuted and put in prison for.
Yeah.
Right. So something like that, to that gravity, if those allegations were made to this scale, I would expect that at least one would go to the police and be like, this is what he did to me and I want it investigated.
Yeah.
Cool. And I think with those types of allegations, if it's not true and it's not investigated, that harm is like, whoa, because this is a big allegation you're making. The allegations that Noel faced is still serious. And I'm not taking away from that. But in all honesty, a lot of it wouldn't be captured by the law anyway. And so I think it is enough to just almost be like, this is his character. Because they're not saying, he
did this to
forced
me,
himself on me, he committed a crime. They're saying he was a bully, he was hard to work with, he made some inappropriate comments about my body, for example.
Yeah.
They've painted a character.
Yeah.
They've not accused him of a crime in of itself, apart from the essay stuff. But I don't know how serious the essay stuff is. I'd have to go back and read on that. So I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But from the interviews I've seen, none of it has been, he tried to coerce me to sleep with him. Or
no, I think the essay stuff, from what I remember, is more like unsolicited comments.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, that kind of stuff. And that's not something that you would take to police and think they'll take, especially if it comes from a black woman. You think they're going to take that seriously? Absolutely not. So, again, I think it's hard. That's what I'm saying. I was like pondering on it, and I was like, it's hard. I get it for men. If you're a successful black man, I can see why something like that would be scary.
Yeah, I just don't like that.
I can see. No, trust me. I get it. I get why it would be like raw, like, so a group of women can just
take man down, like, just because they don't like man, because I'm not nice.
Yeah, everything that I've worked for, they can just tear it down. Wow, they've got too much power to do that. I get that. A little bit of it is that fair? Maybe not. Some of it is, maybe you need to think about how you conduct yourself around women to make sure that you reduce the risk of you being in that space, in that, because like you said with Bill Cosby last week or the week before, the very fact that in his, what was the thing? Was it deposition?
Oh, yeah.
he was like, oh, I didn't know that they weren't consenting. Means that you put yourself in a position for their consent to be questioned. My throat dry.
See, I thought I knew it was you. It was you. You doing all this.
Behave yourself. What's it? Yeah, I get it. I get, like, what was I saying? Yeah. He's obviously put himself in scenarios and he's portrayed himself in a certain way to people for these allegations to be made. If you are as a man, oh God.
As a man.
As a person, let me take it away. As a person, when you're in certain spaces, you have to think about how you conduct yourself, and you need to be careful not to put yourself in situations or scenarios whereby someone could turn around and say they did XYZ to me. And I think the issue with SA in particular, bullying, I mean, I spoke about microaggressions and all that. Bullying is so, let me finish my sentence for those that are not watching, because I'm using hand gestures and you won't know what I'm saying. Bullying is so, the threshold is so high. There's different degrees to bullying. There's this person beat me up and actually caused physical harm, all the way down to
they sent a tweet,
or they made a flying comment, or they made a facial expression, or their body language is a certain type of way and it made me feel intimidated. Anything like that. Fine. SA is the same. Literally. And again, another thing about SA is some acts, some of the more minute stuff, is subjective.
Yeah.
How many times at work has a guy told me that he thinks my bum is nice and I've laughed it off?
Yeah.
Didn't think of it as SA. I just thought it was being cheeky.
Yeah.
To another woman, no.
It's SA. It depends on the day. Depends if you like the guy and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, you can still be aggressive. You can still be attracted. A woman can still be attracted to someone and still experience SA from that person.
Of course.
Do you understand me?
But it's
and it's like kind of like what I was saying last time when and I don't know if I kept it in episode, but I'll say it again anyway. Where I was like, as a woman, when the Me Too movement happened, well, around 2017 or whatever it was, there was a lot of things that came out from those conversations where before that I would have said, nah, I've only had like 2 incidences where a guy has like done something inappropriate, but it didn't, I don't think it's affected me like that. But it wasn't until after the Me Too movement, some things that girls were sharing about how things affected them. I was like, oh no, actually, yeah, that happened to me. I wasn't comfortable, you know. But I didn't say that was SA. I just thought it was being inappropriate. So it's, again, SA is subjective.
Yeah.
In certain areas, it's subjective. And so, you know, yeah, I think it's hard. But remember, we're living in a society now where we're trying to define everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, gender, for example, there's all different types of gender now. It's no longer boy and girl. Because we're trying to define everything. We're trying to make a space in the room and be
for every
conscious of every little whatever. And so because of that, it's going to cause problems like similar to this, where people are now going to be vocal about experiences that they had that may not even be encompassed by what the law governs currently. Yeah, it still means it's true. And yes, it might mean that that person's character is defamed. Yeah. Off the back of it. But that doesn't mean that that's not what they deserve. Because if you actually did that, then that's what you deserve.
So here's the secondary issue to the point that you just raised, which is if you don't without trying to pursue some type of legal, criminal justice in doing it, and you just go straight to the newspaper and you paint this picture of this individual, which then costs them careers, deals, blah, 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 blah. That does then just fall under defamation, to which they become the benefactor, because you cannot defame somebody. That's just against the law also. So in him...
It's only defamation if it's not true.
Yeah, but then it doesn't get proven true because there's no legal proven.
But these are things that can't be proven, and it doesn't have to be proven. These are things that can't be proven legally anyway.
Yeah, but so then the only thing that can be proven legally is that I have been defamed based on hearsay, and that...
But it's not hearsay, it's true to those people.
Yeah, but they can't prove that, which is my point.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is their testimony is the evidence enough.
Yeah, but then he just has to counter their testimony.
But he'll have to counter the testimony with proof.
Yeah, which almost neither of them, which becomes he said, she said. But the things that he can prove is obviously what he's been working on this time, because he's taken them to court, not the individuals.
He's taken the media
taken
outlet.
exactly.
Yeah, but he can't take the. So that's what I'm saying. So he can't. What's the word? Basically, for the victims, whether the case with the media outlets is successful or not, they've done what they wanted to do.
Yeah, to a degree.
And
but
one thing for some people, justice is, I want legal justice. For some people, is I want to take the law into my own hands and do my own thing. And I think that, I don't know, like, I used to have these conversations with my mum all the time, and she used to be kind of like, she can see why, okay, my mum, oh God, but like, I'm very much, God says don't kill, right?
Yeah.
But mum is like, there's certain situations as a mother, I will understand why someone would take the law into their own hands.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, the law, and
I'm not the law.
I'm the law.
I'm not the law.
I'm the law. Maybe because I mean I studied law, and if I break the law, that's the end. Like, for my career is done. So I'm very the law. So I'm very much like, no, there's answers within the law, but I'm also very aware that there's things within the law. The justice system is broken. It doesn't cover everything. So no, it might not always work. And so for some people, taking it to the media and letting everybody know this was my experience of this person, do with that information as you wish. I've done my part. And if people choose to cancel this person off the back of me telling my truth, that's enough justice for me. I don't need to take it to for some people, that is enough. It's not for the public to tell that person, the victim, how they should go and seek justice. If they want to do, I'm going to tell the media, and that's where it ends.
And that's where
that's where it ends.
Yeah, it's an the
media outlets maybe should do more work around making sure the story is correct before they put it out there. But that's on them. That's why a defamation case can only go against them. It can't.
100%. It would be bad taste for him to do that anyway. But the thing is, but
legally speaking, it can't go to them anyway. Yeah. It can only really go to the media outlets, because it's the media outlets that even publish the story. And it's the onus is on them to go and do their due diligence to make sure that it's as correct as possible.
If he wins that case, which I think he will, but if he wins that case, he'll be even more well off.
Not necessarily.
Financially, yeah, because they'll have to pay for him. They'll have to pay all of the damages.
Yeah, they'll pay the damages off, but people know what we know now.
Yeah, but we also know,
and it's still up in the
air. He won his case against them, and nothing has been proven, which he's expressed, and he'll be back in a position where he's able to express himself fully, because he's no longer in a
but he's been able to express himself fully now anyway.
No, now he's come back because he's trying to lay up for his career return, which cannot be stopped because no legal proceedings were made against him. So there's no way to really falsify what they've said. And then 2, he'll financially be in a better place because all of the projects that he would have done will be reimbursed to him, because that's what this has cost him.
I don't know if he would win the case.
I think he.
Just from my knowledge of how the law works, and based on what I know of what is already out there, we don't know what evidence and stuff like that they've relied on, because the only way that he would actually win this case is if they didn't have all those testimonies.
For defamation.
Yeah. If they don't have any of those, and the story that they printed, they included stuff that
alluded to other things. I think like I think with the 20 women and then the allegations and the leading with sexual assault, when maybe that
could be where he would win. But that depends on the testimonies that these women gave. And it's not even about, because again, we're not talking about something that can be proved legally anyway, and the law, the courts will know that.
Yeah, and
So
then it's also about
depending
the
on-
process that they followed, and in
But this is what I'm
comparison
trying to
to other
say.
people.
Well, yeah,
Chance for rebuttal, because it said chance for rebuttal,
they
no
gotta
chance.
they got to think about all of
stuff.
that. But we don't know how true that is either.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out. So there's all of that as well. So at the end of the day, that's why I can't say that it would.
Yeah, no.
What side it will fall on. I don't know. I don't know what side the chips are going to fall because I don't have the case to look at in front of me. In order for me to do that. And even if they were to take president, the courts have every right to say, no, we're setting a new precedent now. And actually, I know in previous cases this, but this is what we're setting for this one. So again, we just don't know. But what I do know is that, where am I going with this? What I do know is that if he wins, we can't deny that people have made their mind up about him.
Oh, for sure. But they'll forget.
It will.
They'll forget.
No.
They'll forget.
When it comes to SA, no.
Yeah, but if it's just because remember
look at Chris Brown.
Was it sexual assault? He was DV.
That was DV.
Yeah.
But look at Chris Brown. Chris Brown, apart from Rihanna.
Yeah, but he's guilty.
Hold on.
He's guilty.
I know.
We don't need a judge.
Hold on. We know about the Rihanna thing. That one's facts. But the ones after that,
yeah, but they just like
people hold on to it though.
I'm sure some
don't
people
know the truth.
I'm sure some people
no,
do.
No.
All the following ones, I just sweat them under the rug.
People are like, he did it then, he did it now, based on what they know of him. There's people that know him, and they're gonna be like, he did that.
Me, I know him.
Yeah, they did that. They're gonna be like, no, yeah, he did that, and I'm never gonna. Whether he wins the defamation case or not, he's been defamed now. He can go back and do projects. Some people will not even want to take the risk of working with him.
Of course,
because of it. So
that's what they will have to pay. Like, imagine how much
they can't be quantified.
No, they will quantify.
No, they won't be able to quantify.
They will quantify.
They'll quantify what he has.
They'll quantify exactly what he.
Venom, you can't tell me.
They'll quantify.
You can't tell me. But remember my profession. They can't just remember that. Just remember my profession. Just remember that. I'm telling you for facts. They will give him compensation, but it will never be. It can't be like we know for sure.
Of course,
this is how much potential work that you have lost out on. They would say, okay, between this point, since it's been done, the stuff that you had already, like whatever, that you've lost, that this is how much.
Yeah, that's guaranteed.
That's guaranteed. That's redress. That's redress. That's different. But the compensation part for future loss, whatever, that can't be quantified, right? But even if they gave him a couple mils or what, $1 billion, let's
yeah, definitely wasn't gonna be that.
No offense, but let's say it was, yeah.
Wow.
No offense, but let's be real. Let's say it was, yeah. Let's say it was. People will still be like, I don't want to work with him, or it's too risky, or we don't like him, or he's problematic, or do you know what I mean? Like they don't want to be associated with any tarnished whatever. And that means for some people, some of the people that testified, their job is done. That's enough for them. It doesn't disprove. He's trying to. What I'm trying to say is, watching his interviews, I've watched 2 now. He's trying to almost be like, I've learned from my mistakes, but none of it went to trial. None of them was investigated. So it's almost like he's trying to plant a seed of, I didn't do those things. Or in some of it, it's the story isn't how. The way I remember it to be is not how it happened.
Yeah.
Or the way they said it is not how I remember it to be, which he's still defending himself. So he's trying to plant a seed of doubt that he actually did these things. And what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, whether the media outlet released it or not, whether people cancelled him or not, now that the stories are out there, people always look at him with a question mark.
Yeah. And that's exactly what he's
and that has been
leading with.
That has been achieved.
Yeah.
And I think that is what is deserved
If he was guilty, yes.
If he was guilty, because we're on a podcast, I have to say alleged and if. But I will say that I'm veering on the side of believing that he did those things because of the amount of people that have spoken out. And even like there was something that Zizi said where she was like, I've seen you around. I've been to parties where you were there. He was like, what parties? I've not trying to like get party. Her. I don't party. She was like, no, I've seen you at like press releases or like stuff for your own shows. I've been at the, do you know like when you're about to release a show, they'll do a press release. Of course he's there. Don't lie that you're not at your own. Come on. He's trying to make it seem like he doesn't go nowhere. My guy. So she was like, no, I've been there. And even I would have said that. No, I can see why people said those things about you.
Yeah, she's like,
that's
not warm.
A big shout. Do you know what I'm saying? So for the fact that someone who's maybe not had close proximity to you, but they've been around the spaces you've been at, for them to be like, no, I can see why those allegations were made.
Yeah, she said it's not a far reach. She said not a far reach.
Not a far reach.
But
do you see what I'm saying? So he's got that question mark.
He's definitely got a question mark. Yeah.
And whether he wins the defamation case or not, that's enough. And it's believable that he did it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, even with the, the Adam Deacon thing, and you layer it on top, even though his account is completely different and an eye-opening view for me, because I've only seen it from one side. Yeah. It's just, for me, it's just not nice to think of the two realities. One of obviously him not being guilty and having to endure watching your whatever you've been working on for quite a long time just be thrown away. And then the other reality of him being guilty and still winning a defamation case because you just didn't do things in the way that it should be done. Not that necessarily that it's the victim's fault, but also the media publication not doing due diligence on...
If there is no process that... a safe process, a process that has shown to be successful, then I can see why certain measures weren't taken.
Yeah, no, I agree, but even just for in his complaint of not being given any time to rebuttal this.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how true that is because wasn't there a BAFTA that he won that apparently he was saying things. People were like, oh.
Yeah, that people tried to then. And he said, but I didn't have that information at that point.
Yeah, but some of the things that he said that could be drawn into question. These are all things that the courts will go down.
They'll know when he
We don't know. We don't know the truth.
Yeah.
He could be saying what he's saying because at the end of the day, he's doing damage control right now.
Oh, for sure.
So we don't know any truths. Both the victims and him. We don't know the truth. But one thing I will say is I can recognize why for men, particularly black men, why Noel Clarke's story might be triggering and might be a concern. Because if you've put all your hard work into something, the idea that a collective can just come along, say something, and it just shuts you down, it will definitely be scary. You're right. We don't see it happen to women as much. And that's why I think it's a topic that would be concerning to black men.
Yeah, specifically.
100%.
Aspirational black men, let's say.
Yeah, 100%. And if I was a black man, I would probably feel the same way. I'm not a black man though, clearly. And so for that reason, I also understand from women's point of view, as a woman who has been a victim of SA, at times that I didn't even know that that was what it was. I knew that I wasn't comfortable. I knew that I had been violated. I knew that I couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And these were a lot of these things were things that if I'd gone to the police, it would have gone nowhere. A story I want to tell you, not to do with like SA like that, but when I was in school, in secondary school, early years secondary school, when internet was a thing, but it's not what it is now, I was bullied in secondary school, innit? At this stage of I went to two secondary schools. This is the second secondary school I went to. I got bullied, not the first one.
The second secondary.
The second secondary school I got bullied, and they created a website. This was back in like High Five days, like MySpace days.
Yeah.
So websites weren't as
popping.
They weren't as complex as they are now. Back then, it was just literally a page. Yeah. They created a web page where people could write comments about me. And the whole website was about reasons why they don't like me.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's the white people he was growing up with.
Yeah, I'm being very vulnerable right now. Hopefully
Yes.
it's something that is never used against me on the internet. But yeah, and when I found it, I found out that my best friend
Had written something.
was the ringleader.
Ah.
And when I found out, my mum was like, she's ready to go to the school. Mum grew up in Harlesden, so you can imagine mum's gang.
Yeah.
My mum's gang, and my mum wasn't born in Nigeria, she's born here.
She's G with it.
So my mum's a G. She was ready. She was doing G stuff to try and sort that out. Do you get it?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was like, no, let's go to the police, because my dad's a man of the law.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the police. We like printed out like the webpage and everything.
Yeah.
This is what is being said. Some really like dark, and you know, like kids are cruel.
I mean, plus that's back then as well. Like,
and there was no
unfiltered,
and people, like, there were boys saying that they wanted to do stuff to me. There were girls saying that they want to do, and it was like a mixture of like threats of SA and mixtures of like threats of aggressive, like violent behavior,
physical violence.
So I was scared that and bearing in mind, at that time I didn't know it was my best friend that was like the ringleader. She was the one that even started the website. Didn't know. But I was like, I'm going to school and I don't feel safe, so I'm going to go to the police and tell them. And told the school. Nothing came of it. Because at the end of the day, this is just words that are said online. There's nothing in the law that covers this area. There's a grey area here.
At that time.
But even now, online harassment is not something you can go to the police for and they'll track them down. It is more of a thing. You can report it to Instagram, you can put it to Twitter, you can block. Like, you know that I've got someone who was saying stuff about me on our YouTube. I can report that to YouTube and have them removed. I can block them so they can never comment again. I can do stuff like that. That's fine. But I can't get the police involved to track them down and That's not possible, right? So now maybe you'll understand why I was sensitive about that, because I've experienced something. I've never told you about it. So maybe now you get why it was bothering me so much. So like, from experiences like that, I know for a fact that the law is limited. Yeah. So whilst I understand why it's scary for an ambitious black man to hear of a story like Noel Clarke and think, nah, that's not right. It should have gone to the police. It should have investigated before they published it. I also understand that some things can't go to the police because it's a waste of time. There are grey areas in the law, which means that those things would not go anywhere anyway. And so the only other way to get justice is for media outlets to do things like that. Which is why at the very beginning of us talking about it, I was like, I've pondered about this and I just don't know. Because at the end of the day, I don't know the intricacies of the allegations. But unless it's like he forced himself on me or whatever, something like that. If it's words, it's not going nowhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything like that. Because
so then in that case, there was going and get it investigated is null and void. It is null and void. That's why I'm making that argument, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, that's why I genuinely believe that I think the media outlets have every right to publish things. Where I think they could have done better, I don't know if they did do better or not, we're just basing it on what he said, is they could have done more due diligence to make sure that their stories are sound, and whatever they publish, whatever they write in that story has to be literally, this is what was said. They can't add Spice and Maggie to it, because if they add Spice and Maggie, then that's where the defamation comes in. But if it's literal, we've had 20 people,
that many accounts,
this is what they said, this is what their account was, anonymously, these were their words, type thing, then... And
we reached out to speak on it,
and this was the interview, and this is what they said. Done. I
ain't got no complaints with that.
That's it.
Because then it's unfortunate information. It's unfortunate that this.
But you know what? I actually don't think that they even need to. So I do think they should notify the person that we've got information. This is what we've got, and this is what we're going to publish. Yeah, they don't need. I don't think they need to get his side of the story. I think that the way in which we've gone over time slightly, so I'm going to make this point, and then you can make yours, and then we'll wrap up. Cool. Yeah. Sorry guys, because it's getting juicy. But I think that because I wanted before becoming before wanting to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a journalist because I like to write.
Mm-hmm.
And part of journalism, they have allowances in that they don't have to get your side of the story. They can literally write just the side that they one-sided. And if another journalist wants to pick it up and they can do that.
They can do that.
So for that very reason, because I know that those allowances are allowed within the industry, that's why I don't agree that they had to go and ask him for his side. They can publish just the victim's side of the story and they haven't done anything wrong. So if that is what they've done, he's not gonna win that defamation case.
If they've received his argument but chosen not to publish it, I think that there's nothing wrong. But
they don't even have to receive it, Venom. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, and no, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not disagreeing with what's correct practice.
Yeah,
I'm just saying from my perspective, if someone has accused you of, oh yeah, your podcast host, da, I'm like, rah, really? They're like, yep, that's her.
Mm-hmm.
Then to me, due diligence is like, okay, Dammy, someone said X, Y, Z, like what are you saying? Because
I hear that.
It's compelling what they've said.
But you're thinking from a human perspective. The law doesn't care about fairness. The law just cares about the law. So in terms of defamation and in terms defamation and thinking about what journalists are allowed to do legally, they do not have to get his side of the story. They do not need to ask him if it's true or not. They can take the testimony of the victims and publish that. Where defamation comes in is when they start trying to make the story out to be something that the victims have not said. So if none of the victims have spoke about SA and they're there talking about SA
and using 20 women like it's some 20 women SA parade, but really
they've just said
one woman that said I spoke about my ass.
I mean, to be honest, even if it was one woman that spoke about the ass and the rest are just talking about bullying, they can say SA. They can say that.
Like
but what they can't do is be like, all 20 women have accused him of SA. That's what they can't do.
No, but they can't write the title as in that's the leading thing when it's not.
They can.
I think that's defamation.
But they can, within the confinements of the law, they can. And that's why I'm saying to you that I can't say whether he would or he would not. They don't have to go and ask him for his permission. They don't have to get his side of the story. They don't have to publish his side of the story. Where the defamation comes in is if they fabricate or say anything that they don't have evidence of proof. And evidence, unfortunately, a testimony is considered as evidence. So as long as they've stuck to what the testimonies have said,
we will see,
they can do whatever they like.
We will see.
But from a humane fairness level, it would have been nice to let him know 2 weeks before that, we're going to do, have you got anything to say? And then publish both sides of the story.
Or not even necessarily for that, but just so that that this is coming. So if it's not true, you have your time to get your ducks in order. And
but this isn't a court. This is not a court case.
I know. So
they don't have to do that. Yeah,
that's wild.
But anyway,
and that's what worries me as an ambitious black man.
And I get that, and that's why I'm saying if you are an ambitious black man, conduct yourself in such a way whereby you don't put yourself in a position where somebody can start talking about you and saying, "Oh, that time." Know how to put, you know what I mean?
Hence why, but then to be fair, I'm saying hence why he was already married. I'm saying like I'm different. We are the same.
Be respectful.
I'm always trying to be respectful.
Be respectful.
But you never know how people who don't like you feel.
Okay, this is why we need to cut it here. We're going to be here for ages.
I'm not trying to dig into it.
But I do agree with you. There's some wicked and bad people out there.
No, I'm not even saying vindictive.
I'm saying vindictive. Yeah. There's some vindictive people. I didn't say women. I said people. There's vindictive people out there that might want to tear you down for whatever reason that they might have. There's trolls. I mean, come on. Trolls are vindictive. They have things to say. They don't know who you are, but they're here every week. They want to be talking about you like they know you. I get that. But at the same time, there's the trolling and the vindictive people are minority. The majority of people that have experienced these things did experience them. And they have every right to have a voice. And if those newspapers have given them that voice, then fair enough. And if that means it tears Noel down, it tears Noel down. He shouldn't have put himself in situations whereby he's put himself in a position whereby he could have those allegations put up against him. You're working with someone on set and you're telling them they've got a nice bum.
Yeah, that's
Who
the-
called you there? You've got a wife at home. You're telling somebody they've got a nice
But
bum.
then,
Please. No, but come on, man. Come on. It's inappropriate.
you know what, yeah? It's 100% inappropriate unless you have a joke friendship like. But let me put it this way, yeah? I have a friend. Bearing in mind I have a wife, my friend and my wife know each other very well. Share space sometimes.
Yep.
All of that.
Yeah.
Me and my friend, sometimes I will see her. I'm not even looking at it. This is just our banter. I'll be like, hey, gal, pum pum look fat, you know? That's us bantering. If she takes that verbatim and tells anybody else
You don't
that.
work with her.
Well, technically I do. I have, but our relationship is a friendship first.
But when you were working with each other at work, were you making jokes like that?
No. But it's not. So it's not an office job. So that's why it's different. It's the scenario is different, and we're friends first is different. But literally, that's us at work
what I'm trying to say.
talking to
But that's
each
what I'm
other.
trying to say. You've got a friendship first, not colleagues. No, I've hired you to
Mm-hmm.
work on my projects, and I've become so over familiar that I'm making inappropriate
Which
comments.
is what I'm saying.
We've got a friendship. We've got a friendship. We just spoke about vaginas and dicks, and we were asking each other what we would do if we had certain.
That's what I'm saying. There's grey areas in creativity.
But at no point did you talk about my body. At no point do you make, because you know that it's inappropriate. That's what I'm trying to say.
But
don't put yourself in situation. And we're friends.
Yeah, but my other friend, I said, hey, gal, you're.
Venom, in this podcast, there's been times when I've spoken about how, like the one when I was saying that I want to do BBL, and I said, that I'm, some guy told me I'm being greedy. He was like, you was like, basically you're telling me, you're firming what he's saying.
Okay,
you've got a nice enough shape for you to not need it. To some people that might be inappropriate, right? It's borderline, but at the end of the day, you didn't outright say, but damn it, but your bum is like.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if you didn't like me, then you may have the opportunity to categorize that differently.
You wasn't inappropriate in that moment when you was like, yeah, boy, like you are being greedy. You didn't say your bum's nice, like, oh, your breast is this, you didn't do any of that. Do you see what I mean? Calm down.
I mean, put on the telephone voice on that.
Let me say something, yeah? These people already thought, during we first came out, they thought we were in a relationship. I had to let them know, listen, please don't put me in trouble. I beg, please don't put me in trouble. He's got a wife, yo.
Listen.
Friend only. Hey, don't put me in trouble.
It's tricky, man. It's hard because,
But yeah. Woo!
That's where we got to.
It's a
techie one.
It's one we'll probably talk about again because he's not going to be the first or the last person.
And there needs to be, obviously, we have to come back to whatever the outcome of the court cases is. That's going to be interesting.
I mean, I don't know if I care enough to talk about it in depth again, but
not in depth.
I know that there'll be other men in the
limelight. Because Jonathan Majors is the next one now. He's now. And then who after that?
Yeah, there's going to be more.
You know?
There'll be more.
And the problem is, again, with Jonathan, actually, I accepted because the police was called. Yeah. But the story was confused.
Yeah,
he called the police.
But the police were involved, but his is DV.
Yeah.
And that's physical. That's not, like I said, listen, we'll come back to it.
We'll come back to
it. So yeah, let's open it up to everybody. And we'll come back to it another time. This week we have a shout out. I've popped their name on the screen.
Hey.
Thank you so much. Left a lovely comment talking about how the intro is fire. They said the intro is cold. I said, yeah.
Cold like ice.
Yeah, my G. Yeah, my G. We need to release the full version of our intro.
We do. I think we need to perform it.
He was always taking it extra, man. Let's just release it on an episode. I might tack it onto the end of an episode one day or something. I don't know. That's more like when we've
blown up.
When we've blown up and we're monetized and all that business, then we can think about that. And we need to do another track.
Yeah, we do.
At some point. But yeah, thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate it. We love seeing feedback from people around how we're doing. So that matters to us a lot. If you want a shout out like this person, all you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment,
please.
Thank you.
And if you're listening on the streaming services. The streaming services. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, they are,
I said it and I felt it felt wrong.
It felt wrong, but that's what they are, I guess. Yeah.
If you're listening on the streaming services, be it Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you find us, please leave our 5-star, 4-star, preferably 5, and a nice little comment. Follow us because we're on all the streaming sites as well as all just YouTube.
Yeah.
I said all the YouTube. We're on all the YouTube.
On all of YouTube.
Yeah.
And you know what, guys? Like, I'm begging on my knees at this point, please. Like, can you share the podcast around?
Share it.
Because
share it with your friends, with your family, with your mother and father, with your workmates, or just with some black people who you like to have these kind of blackish conversations with.
Drop it on your socials. It's not that hard. Share a story. Go on our Instagram. Share a reel. Go on TikTok. Reshare it. Go on Twitter. Share a reel that you saw. Do you know what? We don't even mind if it's the ones that people want to come and talk rubbish for. We can handle that. That's fine. But just share it because we're really trying to grow this community. Like, I imagine doing things like having a Discord and like getting people like involved in the conversation if you want to. You know, we've got a solid base of people that support us already, but we really want to like grow. So, like, sincerely, I joke about it. I might put on my African auntie accent sometimes when I'm talking about it, but genuinely, like, we want it to reach other people. We put a lot of work into it and we think about things that you might want to hear. And also let us know what sort of topics you want to hear us talk about. I mean, Shireen did that a couple of weeks ago and
we covered that.
We fulfilled, you know what I mean? So we really take into account what you guys want to see. So let us know, please. And if there's any people that you want us to bring on the show as well, let us know. We'll see what we can do. We'll try.
We're going to get some more guests on here.
Or, you know,
trying out the guest thing.
Yeah, so that's about it, really. Until next week, people them, family,
family,
and all that.
Peace.